Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Tony Paradis. I'm a registered dietitian and personal trainer, and today we're going to talk about nutrition for backpackers. We're going to go through some recipes. We're going to go from start to finish on conceptualizing a recipe for the nutrition. I'm going to show you guys how to dehydrate it. I'm going to show you how to store it, and then I'm going to show you how to cook it, from finding a recipe to what ends up on the trail. So
It's 500 calories. For the spaghetti, we added the olive oil, add another 120, so this is 620 calories. It's high protein, 36 grams of protein. It is got a good amount of fiber in it, 7 grams of fiber per serving. And we made this 18 servings for around $30. We did it in the food dehydrator, in the vacuum sealer, and then here in the bag, so there's no mess, just boiled water in my pots. And so we'll eat this and stick around for the conclusion.
I've taken some notes here. I'll be following along with this, and I'm also going to move you step by step through each part of the process here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the camera, and we're going to look at what we're working with here. So the first thing you want to do is, you see my ingredients here, and you may be able to guess that what I'm going to make today is spaghetti. We're going to do spaghetti with meatballs. This is a really great recipe, number one, because all the ingredients are inexpensive. With the spaghetti sauce, it's a really good vehicle for adding in some extra vegetables. So we're going to be doing that too, and I'll explain why I chose each of these ingredients here in a minute. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what you want to make. Some guidance for this is make sure it tastes good as a leftover, because with the cooking and dehydrating and rehydrating, you do lose some of the quality of taste there, and so you do want to keep that in mind and in consideration. So things that come to mind besides spaghetti and meatballs would be like a chili, it might be like a rice dish, like a burrito filling or a curry, and you guys can figure out what you like and apply these same principles. Today we'll be using the spaghetti. So after you figure out what you want to do, the second thing I recommend that you do is figure out a way to work in more wholesome and more nutritious foods. Okay, so some things we're going to be looking at here is, number one, how can we add more protein? Why would we want to add more protein? Because most trail food is very high in carbohydrates and fats, so we're actually going to put an effort to getting in more protein to rebuild that muscle that you're breaking down on the trail, and to help to preserve that muscle from breaking down as well. So we're using a 93.7 extra lean ground beef here. The other product that we're going to be using is a Berea Protein Plus. This is a pasta that has extra protein in it. I checked the regular Walmart protein or pasta, the whole grain, and that one has 7 grams of protein per serving. This one has 10 grams of protein per serving, or 17 if you multiply it by some factor they have here. That's just a marketing thing, but basically it's 7 to 10, so this has more protein in it. The other thing about this pasta, and another thing you want to consider, is, are you getting enough dietary fiber? This is something to consider because this is important for not only digestion and for good bowel movements, but also for your intestinal gut bacteria, which comprise of a lot of your immunity. So you want to stay healthy on the trail. Getting enough fiber is also important for that. And of course, vegetables provide micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, as well as fiber that we'll be eating on the trail. So in this recipe, what I did to improve it just a little bit is I used a whole grain high protein pasta. We're adding in mushrooms, we're going to add in onion, and as for the protein, we're doing a lean ground beef. So that's the basis of it. Now what we want to do is we want to figure out how we can turn this into a portion size that makes sense to us for what we need. So if I choose foods that are high in protein, for example, but I don't eat enough of it, I may not be getting enough protein overall. So the program that I use for this, and I may make another video on this later, is I use an app called MyFitnessPal. I use that to track my daily nutrition and to keep track of what I'm eating. It has a really cool function in it, and you can do this on the computer too. It's the website, myfitnesspal.com. Is you can enter in recipes. So here, my recipe is for trail spaghetti and meatballs. And the number of servings that I recommend is do something that is easy to do math with. So I aimed for a serving size that's about 500 calories per serving. So depending on what I need at a given time, I can bump it up or I can bump it down by doubling it or 50% to increase my calories depending on my needs. So 500 calories for me is a really good kind of starting point. And for a dinner while I'm on the trail, I might double this serving size, and I might go ahead and eat 2 of these. It's not uncommon for me to eat 1,000 calories in a meal just because I am burning so many calories. You also need to consider how much of this food is going to be able to fit into your pot. Okay? And then the third thing you want to consider when you're doing putting your ingredients together is you want to do stuff that is low fat. If it's high fat, it's not going to stay well as a dehydrated food, and you can always add fat back into this. So while this says 500 calories per serving, when I add olive oil to it on the trail, it's going to add an extra 120 calories for every tablespoon that I add. So that's something that I can consider as well. This recipe here, which I'll share with you guys, for 500 calories, it has 7 grams of dietary fiber. It has 36 grams of protein, and also has almost 30% of the RDA for iron in there as well. So you'll put in your ingredients, you'll put in the amounts of what you'll use, and what I'm doing is I'm batch cooking. So this recipe here is going to make 18 servings, 18 500 calorie servings. Okay? Why do we want to do this? Because it is a pain in the butt to do this in small batches. I'm having to figure out the nutrition. I'm having to cook all of this, and I'm having to dehydrate it and then seal it. So this is certainly something that I can save a lot of time by doing more at once and batch cooking this. Okay, so I'm going to be breaking this up into parts. I'll go ahead and conclude this. So this will be the conception of what we're doing and the nutrition. I'll get into the prep of what I'm doing here in our next block. But to conclude this block, my name is Tony Paradis. I'm a registered dietitian and personal trainer. You can check out my website for my hiking and my recipes for hiking on trailmixrd.blogspot.com. You can also check out my main website. I own a gym and nutrition clinic in Louisville at FoodAndFitnessOnline.com. If you guys need help with recipes for your next outdoor wilderness adventure, for your next backpacking trip, you can contact me and I can consult with you to help you to develop a program that's right for you. Being a dietitian, I can work with you for any kind of medical need that you have. Diabetics, I'm very good at working with diabetic clients. If you're on a food allergy or a gluten intolerance, anything like that I can help you guys with. But enough about me. Let's go ahead and get to part 2.